Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video I'm taking a look at the Eibach Pro Truck Coilover Kit Stage 2 fitting 2010 and newer 4Runners. If you're looking for a no-compromise lift kit for your 4Runner, Eibach has got your solution. This is a bolt-on setup that's going to replace your shocks and give you adjustability, a great ride quality, and extra height, and it actually comes in at a pretty good price to boot. If you mention suspension modifications to any car enthusiast, Eibach is probably going to come to their mind rather quickly. They are one of the leaders in suspension technology and development, and they've been making components for all manner of different vehicles for over 70 years. So safe to say, when we got this one in the door, I was pretty excited to check it out. This is the Pro Truck Coilover Stage 2 kit, and there are quite a few important things to touch on here. First and foremost, this is going to give your truck some more height in the front end, essentially functioning as a leveling kit. These front coilovers here that we're going to talk about in a moment are adjustable, and they use the threaded perch down on the bottom here. Now, if you're looking to upsize your wheels and tires, we would recommend going with 33 inches as the largest size for this setup. Now, as you can see in the clips here, 33-inch tires fit on our 4Runner with this setup at its highest setting without an issue. So there's no rubbing, no trimming required. Now, you can squeeze on some 35s, but as you see here, they're going to rub on the bumper and also on the splash guards in the back. So some trimming is going to be required if you want to fit 35s. But if you're looking to get a setup where you don't have to do any further modifications, 33s are going to be your best bet. Now, since these are coilovers too, they come fully assembled as you see them right here. You get new springs, new top mounts, and new lower bushings, making them a bolt-in solution. And they come packed with all of the benefits of Eibach's Pro Truck 2 Coilover 2.0s. These are a nitrogen-charged mono 2 damper setup. It's designed to give you a great balance of ride quality and control, whether you're running down the street or down the trail. And that's thanks to the variable force valving technology inside of the shock here. And that uses a specially designed valve stack inside the damper to smooth out bumps and allow you to stay in control of the truck. So you're not going to get a ton of wheel jiggle or anything else over crazy bumps. These are also going to allow for increased overall travel too, especially since you're able to adjust the height. Now, in the rear, you get a set of matching Pro Truck 2.0 shocks and springs. These obviously are not coilovers because that's not how the rear end of the 4Runner is set up, but these springs and shocks are going to match up perfectly with the struts up front. These ones aren't adjustable for height, however, so it does make this more of a leveling kit than a full-on lift kit, but they're going to make sure that everything stays buttoned up properly for street or trail use. These, like the front shocks, are designed to stand up to heavier loads, making them perfect for a 4Runner that's going to see overlanding duty or just one that might haul stuff often. But it's also going to help keep your truck's ride quality and general manners controlled out on the street and allow for better control out on the trail as well. Construction, as you might expect here, is also a standout. Now, the bodies of the shocks are made from 6061 T6 billet aluminum, and all the mounting points are anodized for a cool look and some extra protection. Now, inside the shocks, you're going to find 46mm pistons, heavy-duty zinc-coated cylinders, and a nitro steel shaft. The springs are made from your typical steel, and they're finished with a nice powder coat over top, same one front and rear to help protect against rust and corrosion. It's a pretty nice piece of kit here. Again, you've got new bushings in the bottoms of the shocks, new top mounts here on the coilovers as well, and this comes pretty much looking exactly like it did out of the box. I really didn't do anything to these, but it's a nice piece of kit, especially for what you're paying for it. Speaking of which, pricing for this one is going to come in at about $1,600, which is a lot of money, yes, but for a full coilover kit, it's actually a pretty good price, especially considering you're getting adjustable height coils in the front, new shocks, and new springs both front and rear. It is a serious price, yes, but it's also a serious bit of kit. And to get this type of feature set from other kits, you're going to have to spend quite a bit more in most cases. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the whole job should take you about 3 hours to complete. Now, while this is a bolt-on kit that's going to simply replace your factory front struts and rear shocks and springs, there is no need for a spring compressor. Getting in there and getting everything adjusted is going to take you some time, however, so do plan for that. But overall, this is pretty straightforward. Just make sure once you've got everything done, as you would with any lift or leveling kit, take your truck for a professional alignment once you've given everything a day or two to settle. With that, let's head out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process.
For this install, you will need a ratchet strap, a bungee cord, the provided spanner, air and electric impacts, an extension, 17mm swivel socket, 10, 12, 17, and 19 deep and shallow millimeter sockets, 14mm ratchet wrench, 7, 17, and 19mm wrenches, clip removal tool, vice grips, ball joint service tool and or a ball peen hammer, dead blow mallet, needle nose pliers, a pry bar, and also not shown here are some pole jacks or jack and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing a lift kit on our 4Runner, but first we're going to send you to watch a short video on how to remove your front suspension, and we'll see you when you get back.
So the first thing we're going to do is disconnect our brake line brackets. The one on the upper control arm is a 10mm bolt, whereas the one in the knuckle is a 12. So I've got my 10mm socket to start on the upper control arm, so let's get that out. So first we'll get our upper control arm bracket. So we'll take that 10mm socket to remove this bolt. Then we can pop our bracket out of the way, throw our bolt back, and then we'll switch to our 12mm socket for the brake line bracket and our knuckle. And then same thing, pop that out of the way, and thread our bolt back in. Next we can remove the 18mm nut holding our sway bar end link in. So we'll grab an 18mm socket to pop that off. Next we can disconnect our tie rod end. So we'll grab a pair of needle nose pliers to bend back our cotter pin. Next we can take our 19mm socket to remove our nut. Next we can grab a hammer to tap on the side of the knuckle here to break our ball joint free. Now once we get this to pop free, we can remove our nut and get our tie rod end off to the side. Next we can loosen up our lower strut mount. So we'll grab a 19mm socket for our nut side and a 19mm wrench for our bolt side to loosen that up. Next we can disconnect our upper control arm ball joint from our knuckle. So grab a pair of needle nose pliers for our cotter pin, and then we can grab our 19mm socket to loosen up our nut. And now with our nut loosened up, we can do the same thing where we're smacking the side of the knuckle. Make sure you leave that nut on so your whole knuckle doesn't go flying once it pops free. And then we'll just pull down on our upper control arm and fully remove our castle nut. Next we can come to the top of our strut tower and remove our 3 nuts. So we'll take a 14mm ratcheting wrench to do so. I'm going to end up leaving this nut on there hand tight until we're ready to remove our strut. Now at this point you can repeat that entire process on the other side because we do need to be able to move our sway bar to get our strut out. Next we can remove our lower strut bolt. And then we can go back up top and remove that nut. And then we can pull our sway bar up and out of the way. And then once you have your strut out on one side, you can do that same thing on the other side.
Alrighty guys, welcome back. Now that we've shown you how to remove your front suspension, we can go ahead and begin installing our new setup. So first thing we're going to do is grab our new strut, and we're going to fish that back up into our strut tower here, get everything mounted up top, and then install our bottom hardware as well. We'll go ahead and move our sway bar up as far as we can get it. And we're going to fish our strut in here. This is kind of a tedious task for one person, but it can be done. Get this on. Get our top mounting bolts lined up. Then we can push our bottom mounting point into position. Now we're going to go ahead and just hand tight install our provided 14mm flange nuts up top. these on. Now that we have those on and our strut's pretty secure, we'll go ahead and reinstall our bottom mounting bolt as well. So we're going to reuse our factory 19mm mounting bolt along with our flat washer and 19mm mounting nut to go ahead and mount our new strut. We'll go ahead and push down a little bit on our knuckle to kind of help us line everything up and get our bolt through. This is going to be a little bit tight, but it will go through. Go ahead and reinstall our flat washer and 19mm nut here. Get that started. And we'll go ahead and grab our 19mm socket on our impact and our 19mm wrench and tighten this back down. So now we'll go ahead and grab our 14mm ratcheting wrench and tighten down our 3 mounting nuts up top here. Now remember, you always want to refer to your manufacturer's specific torque setting for all of your hardware. So now you're going to want to repeat this same step for the other side, as your sway bar end link and your sway bar itself will not fully move the way you need it to if you don't do this on the other side at the same time. So now we'll go ahead and get our upper control arm reconnected to our knuckle. So we'll go ahead and grab onto our knuckle, relieve the tension on our bungee cord, take that off. Go ahead and set our upper ball joint into our knuckle and reinstall our nut. Now for this, you may need a pry bar to get your upper control arm back to where you need it. Go ahead. So now we'll go ahead and reinstall our nut. Then we can go ahead and readjust our pry bar and get a little bit tighter on there. Now we'll grab our 19mm socket on our impact and go ahead and tighten that down. Now we can go ahead and reinstall our tie rod to our knuckle. So we'll go ahead and get that lined up. Get that pushed through, then reinstall our castle nut. And again, with our 19mm socket on our impact, we'll tighten that down. Now we'll go ahead and reattach our sway bar end link to our knuckle. Reinstall our 17mm nut. Now we'll go ahead and tighten that down with our 17mm socket on our impact. Now we'll go ahead and install our cotter pins back into our upper ball joint as well as our tie rod. So we'll get our cotter pin back into our tie rod. Pop that in. And for this style, you definitely want to always bend your ends back. So we'll grab our needle nose pliers. Go ahead and do that. Next, we can go ahead and reattach our brake line brackets. Go ahead and get that back into our knuckle. Reinstall our 12mm bolt here. And we'll tighten that back down with our 12mm socket on our impact. Next, we'll go ahead and reattach our bracket to our upper control arm. So we'll get that 10mm bolt out of there, line this back up, set that right back in, and tighten that down with our 10mm socket on our impact. So now once you have everything done for this side, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps for the other side. Alrighty guys, now we're going to go ahead and get our rear suspension disassembled, and we're going to start by loosening our lower control arms here. This is going to give us more travel for our differential once we drop it down to get our springs out and then get our new springs in. So what we're going to do is grab our 19 mil socket on our impact, our 19 mil wrench, and loosen these up. Now we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove our sway bar end links. So we're going to grab our 17 millimeter swivel socket and extension on our impact. Go ahead and pop those off. Now we'll go ahead and remove the nut from the other end link and go ahead and take these off. So now we'll go ahead and pop our end link out of our sway bar. Just grab it like so. Pop that free. Now we can go ahead and remove our lower shock mounting bolts, and we'll grab our 17 mil socket on our impact to do so. So now we're ready to get at our top mounting nut for our shock, but first we're going to go ahead and spray a little penetrating lubricant on that. Most models on most vehicles, trucks like this is one of your first places to rust, so you're going to want to go ahead and spray that down just to give yourself a head start, probably make life a little easier. So we'll go ahead and spray that first. So now to get this off, we're going to grab our 17 millimeter wrench and our 7 millimeter wrench to grab onto the actual mounting stud to hold that in place. Now unfortunately with where this is, kind of can't get a ratcheting wrench or anything in there really, so we're just going to go old school with the open end portion. Now sometimes the top of these studs just simply seem to slip out and kind of round off with the wrench that's supposed to hold it. So we're going to switch out to a pair of vice grips and grab onto the end of our stud, and hopefully that'll hold it in place. And you will reach a point where you're going to have to remove your vice grips. That should be the same point that it is loose enough where it won't spin your stud. Now once you get to this point, you will want to support your shock because this is the last thing holding it on. So now once we have our mounting nut off, we can go ahead and break our bottom mount free from its little stud here. Maybe even have to remove our upper washer and bushing. Sometimes these little bottom mount studs here can get stubborn, so we're going to grab a soft mallet. We're going to support our strut, and we're just going to tap on the bottom mount just a little bit to get that to break loose. Then we can go ahead. So once you have this done for this side, you can go ahead and repeat this step for the other side. So now that we have our shocks out, we can come to our track bar here, and we're going to go ahead and loosen this upper end with our 19 mil socket and our 19 mil wrench. So sometimes these can be pretty tough, so we've gone and switched out to our air-powered impact. Remember, we're just loosening this end. So now we're going to go ahead and fully remove this side. So again, use our 19 mil socket on our impact. Go ahead and remove our bolt. Set that aside. Now we can go ahead and lower our differential down. Now we're going to go ahead and pull down on our differential and remove our factory springs. May need to spin it a little bit. Go ahead, pop that out. Then we can do the same thing for the other side. So in order to get enough drop down on our differential to get our new spring in, we're going to need to remove this bracket as it's holding the lines for a couple of our sensors here. So we'll grab our 12 mil socket on our impact and just pop this off real quick. And once that's freed up, that's going to relieve any tension here for this upper part. And then we can go ahead and just put that bolt right in here so we keep track of it. So now we're ready to install our new springs, and we're going to reuse that factory isolator from our original spring. We'll go ahead and place that in here. And we can go ahead and get our spring in. We may need to drop our differential down a little bit more to do so. We'll go ahead and lower that down a good bit. Fish our spring up into position. Go ahead, drop our pole jack down enough to give us some room to pull our diff down. Go ahead, and if you notice, this bottom coil here is kind of up above our bottom perch. So what we're gonna do is just kind of spin this around like this while we pull down on our diff. Go ahead and get that in place. Then we can spin that back around and lock that bottom coil into our bottom of our perch. And once we have that done, we'll go ahead and grab our pole jack, run that back up just a little bit. Make sure our top of our spring is lined up. And it's just a flat surface for our isolator here. Just make sure that has enough tension on it to hold it in place. Then once you do it for this side, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Now we're gonna go ahead and reinstall this bracket here. So we'll pull that 12mm bolt out, line our little locator up, pop that right back in. Then we'll grab our 12mm socket on our impact and tighten that back down. So next we're gonna go ahead and get our track bar back into place, but you will notice it is not quite in alignment, so we're gonna use a ratchet strap to go ahead and pull our differential over just a hair to get it lined back up. So we're gonna hook our ratchet strap here to our differential. And then the other side, we're gonna hook here to our chassis. We'll take out all of our slack. We'll just go ahead and tighten that up. Try not to pinch your fingers. So then we'll once again grab our factory 19mm mounting bolt. Go ahead and get that lined up. Get that threaded back in. And we'll go ahead and tighten that back down. So we'll grab our 19mm socket on our impact and run this back in. Tighten that back up. Once we do that, we can go ahead and release our ratchet strap. Now we'll go ahead and tighten this end of our track bar back up, get with our 19mm socket on our impact and our 19mm wrench. So now we're ready to go ahead and install our new shock. So we're gonna get our upper mounting point in position first. So we've got our bottom cup, our bottom bushing, and our upper cup for our bottom bushing. That's gonna go through our mounting position. Then we'll go with our upper bushing, our upper cup, and then our mounting nut. And we're just gonna get that hand tight for now. Then we'll get our bottom mounting point in position. We'll get our top mounting nut started here. We'll go ahead and get that hand tight. Then we can get our bottom mount in position. Get this onto our mounting point here. We may have to adjust our differential a little bit with our pole jack. Go ahead and get that on. Now these are pretty tough to get on by hand. They're just pretty stiff. So what we're gonna do is grab a soft mallet and gently tap this into place. So now that we have that flush, we'll go ahead and get our bottom mounting bolt on. So we'll go ahead and reinstall that factory mounting bolt. And then we'll tighten that down with our 17mm socket on our impact. Now we'll grab our 19mm wrench and go ahead and tighten down our top mounting nut. So now once you have this done for this side, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps for the other side. So now we can go ahead and get our sway bar end links back into our sway bar. We'll go ahead and line this up, pop that back through, reinstall our 17mm nut. Then we can go ahead and grab our 17mm swivel socket and extension on our impact and tighten that back down. Then you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Now we can go ahead and tighten our control arm bolts back down. So we'll grab our 19 mil socket on our impact and our 19 mil wrench. Go ahead and snug those back on. Then you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side, and always remember to refer to the manufacturer torque spec for all of your hardware. So the front end of this lift kit is actually adjustable for what ride height you would like to have, and that adjustment is done with the provided spanner with the base collar for the spring on the front strut. So you would turn your adjustment collar up to stiffen the spring, and that is going to lower your ride height in the front, giving you a stiffer but lower ride. If you want a higher height or a softer ride, you're going to have to lower it down, spin it the other way in order to adjust your height, and refer to the manufacturer guide on maximum and minimum height for this lift kit. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our Eibach Pro Truck Coilover Kit Stage 2 for your 10 to 23 4Runner. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything 4Runner, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.